Let me start this video by saying that John Kelly, former general, former chief of staff of Donald Trump, former head of John Kelly is, I think, a reprehensible human being.
Homeland Security
Secretary, yeah. So DHS. Under his tutelage, which I think was during the Obama years, he is the one who came up with novel ways to punish immigrants who were attempting to seek asylum in this country, find a better life, work to feed their families, escape from those countries that U.S. has destabilized over the course of the past century and left them without the sort of like foundations of a civil society that would protect a lot of the people there. So John Kelly is a garbage man. One of the things that garbage men recognize, and I do not mean in any way to demean garbage men. I'm not talking about sanitation workers here. I'm talking about a man who is garbage. Yes. But game recognizes game. And here is John Kelly apparently recognizing game.
Moments ago, the New York Times posted clips from 3 new interviews with General Kelly. In it, he does not specifically refer to Jeffrey Goldberg's new reporting, which was in The Atlantic, but he confirms previous report that the former president had made admiring statements about Adolf Hitler. Kelly also told the Times that in his opinion, Trump met the definition of a fascist and would govern like a dictator if allowed.
Well, I'm looking at the definition of fascism. It's a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy. So certainly, in my experience, those are the kind of things that he thinks would work better in terms of running America.
So there it is, John Kelly, fashy in his own way. I think, like, you know, you have to believe in a social hierarchy if you're going to... I
wonder if there was any self-reflection when he was reading that definition to himself.
Oh, gosh, Jesus. Oh, damn it. I've got a note to self. Just review this later when it's just me. This is awkward. Was reading this and I had no idea what it was, and just Googled it, and that was the way I found out I was a fascist. But anyways, here is John Kelly apparently on another aspect. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, he's a generic fascist, but where does Donald Trump get his ideas from? Like what he has a vision for what he wants.
He commented more than once that, you know, that Hitler did some good things too. And of course, if you know history, again, I think he's lacking in that. But if you know what Hitler was all about, it'd be pretty hard to make an argument that he did anything good.
So what would you say?
Pause it for 1 second. I just want to reflect on this. The amount of history that you need to not know that Hitler was bad is pretty extensive. Like, I mean, to the extent, like, and I don't mean like, oh, do you remember season 4 of Survivor? Like, that's not history. Like, the amount of history that you gotta, like, this is low-hanging fruit on the history stuff.
Yeah, you're not like commenting on Garibaldi or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not even going into like how like World War I started, right? You don't have to know anything about King Ferdinand or anything like that. You don't have to know anything about Reconstruction or all that complicated stuff. Or I had no idea there was a massacre in Atlanta in Reconstruction. No, this is like let's play Army men as a kid level of history. This is like you could. Your only history lessons could have been from Hogan's Heroes, and you would have picked up on this.
If you know history, again, I think he's lacking in that. But if you know what Hitler was all about, it'd be pretty hard to make an argument that he did anything good.
So what would you say when he said to you that Hitler did a lot of good things?
Well, I tell him that. I said, first of all, you should never say that. But if you knew what Hitler was all about from the beginning to the end, everything he did was in support of his racist, fascist life, philosophy, so that nothing he did you could argue was good. It was certainly not done for the right reason. And but he would occasionally say that.
What would he say when you would lay that out to him?
He just, that'd be the end of the conversation usually.
Well, I can see where you are on this.
Stephen Miller actually has lots of good things to say when I talk about this sort of
Yes.
stuff.
The different people disagree. General Cuck Ellie.
I was just testing the waters.
General Cuck Ellie.
Trump's first, or one of his ex-wives, in the divorce proceedings, stated that he had a Hitler book on the nightstand.
Yeah, it was Mein Kampf.
Not Mein Kampf.
Oh, no.
It was a deeper cut. It was a collection of Hitler's speeches.
Oh.
So, a little bit deeper.
Hey, it's easier for me to read something if it's like two like if I can read it.
Mein
I
Kampf,
get to be able to take it. I got to wrap this up when I'm taking a poop.
It's not very conversational, Mein Kampf. I like the speeches because it's in a language that's a little bit more fourth grade level.
It's marketing. It's more marketing, and that's what I like. I like the marketing. There's a lot of stuff he did. A lot of stuff he did that was good. I mean,
Sir, you don't have to hand it to Hitler, at least publicly.
exactly. Sir, I just want to remind you, this is stuff we say. Oh, yeah. I forgot, Kelly's from Massachusetts, too.
It's wild because hearing that, I think, like, gosh, I know a lot more history than John Kelly does. And he's the one telling the president, like, hey, fascism and Hitler, cool it on that as an advisor.
Listen, dude, don't say that in public, all right? I mean, this is us talk. Not what we say is that, like, we need these immigrants are good people, but we need to put them in cages.
Some violent ones.
Yep. That is A, that is very impressive, and B, will probably not change anybody's mind about voting for Donald Trump.
Baked into the cake.
I mean, it really is. I think Hitler's a bad guy, but it really is the idea that we can't acknowledge some of the good that he did is really, that's the problem with our society today.
What about the Autobahn?
Yeah, the Autobahn, just even the Volkswagen, like that's still a car that's around. The Mercedes is still around. He didn't invent those, but he helped their industrial. I mean, he was the one who juiced German industry.
I'm saying.
Granted, it was so they could build tanks and roll over other countries and decimate the populations of the Jews. But that's, he did say, maybe we should just ship them to a different country. So, it's easy to forget it's easy to remember the bad times. It's hard to remember the good times too. That's all I'm saying. That's why 98% of the people who don't have a problem with that are like divorced men who are just like, let's be honest, there were good times too. Some of it was bad, but there's good on both sides.
I saw a clip of the Haktua Girls podcast the other day, and she had a New York person on, and the New Yorker asked, like, so you guys feel, or how do you feel about losing the Civil War to us? Because they're in Tennessee, and the young women did not know what the Civil War was. So we lost to y'all, I think was the response. So, yeah, not very historically literate country.
Jeez. Didn't know what the Civil War was?
And then when the person said, yeah, I'm not an expert either, but I know that the North fought the South, the response was, you're so educated.
Well, folks, we're so effed. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, fun doing this, and talking about this stuff. But let's be honest, we're effed.
It's basically a pedal going into a raging ocean.
Exactly. Let's just walk right into the surf. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.